Welcome to another episode of Brick by Brick, Building Wealth Through Real Estate. My name is Nico James BoC, and I'm a broker with Royal LePage Signature Realty in downtown Toronto. Today's episode deals with the most recent Bank of Canada announcement, which indicated that there is another rate reduction in the overnight lending rate. I want to discuss the effects of this third rate reduction, keeping in mind the 7 key factors that drive real estate. If we look at the 7 key factors that drive real estate, number one, the most important being cost of ownership. The second is job security. The third, population growth. Fourth is supply. Fifth, regulatory changes. Sixth is global factors. And the seventh being replacement value versus market value. If we look at the most recent announcement was September the 4th. The Bank of Canada cuts policy rate by 25 basis points to 4.25%. Now, this is significant simply because it's the third announcement that announced a rate reduction. The first was on June the 5th, 25 basis points. Second being July 24th, another 25 basis points. This third announcement of 25 basis points brings our rate down from 5% to 4.25%. There are 2 more BoC decision dates this year, October 23rd, which is my birthday, and December the 11th. December 11th would be the final announcement. The overnight rate headed for the end of 2025 is 2.75%. This was recently announced by the economic guru, Dr. Sherry Cooper. Dr. Sherry Cooper is a leading voice in Canadian economics, and she is a frequent guest at during our bi-weekly Zoom office meetings. She was a guest about a week ago, and during that meeting, she announced that the overnight lending rate is headed to 2.75% by the end of 2025. That's above a pre-COVID rate of 1.75%. We are heading in the right direction. And she mentioned that that is probably being conservative, indicating that perhaps the overnight lending rate will reach 2.5% by the end of 2025. A lot has to happen between now and then, and there are other factors that determine the price of real estate. We are currently in a slow buyer's market. Buyer's market being there are more than 5 months of inventory, between 5 and 7 months of inventory, depending on the pocket. And that puts us squarely in buyer's territory. Now, this situation was brought about by the fact that we are trying to absorb the inventory, especially in the condo sector. There are just too many condos that are sitting on the market for various reasons. I discussed those reasons in my previous podcast. The most significant being the fact that a lot of them have a lot of the new pre-construction condos that were under construction during the past 3 years have now completed. So since we were in a high interest rate environment, a lot of the investors that purchased those condos couldn't hold on to them, and basically they're left sitting on the marketplace, and no one is buying them. Buyers just literally sitting on the fence, waiting for more rate cuts. Now, as we move into the fall market, and with this most recent rate cut, we will see more buyers getting off the fence and making those important decisions. One of the factors that they will consider, in addition to the interest rate cut, is job security and unemployment. The powers that be, Bank of Canada, the government of Canada, and other policymakers are looking very closely at job security and unemployment. The Weak Canadian Labour Force, a survey, sets the stage for further rate cuts. The data points to deteriorating labour demand in an economy that consistently fails to add jobs at the pace of population growth. Ontario's, or Canada's, but more specifically the GTA, the population gains in Canada set actually a record. So slower growth is ahead because of caps, but it's not enough to curb the influx of people coming into Canada, and more specifically into the GTHA. The population grew by 1.3 million people over the past year. That's a lot of people. So we're now sitting at just under 41 million for the population in Canada. The country added equivalent of Estonia's population last year. So we're really reaching an annual rate of 3.2%, which is among the world's fastest, versus 2.7% in 2022. This is according to Stats Canada. There are just too many people pouring into into Canada, and not enough housing to accommodate them. So although there is a glut in the condo market, it's still too early for these newcomers to absorb that inventory. Most newcomers that come into the country and into the GTA for the first time are going into the rental market. That's also putting pressure on rents. Rents are skyrocketing, but it's leaving the inventory basically untouched. As I mentioned before, this will change. A lot of this inventory will get absorbed in the next year, but we're going to continue to be in a housing crisis for the foreseeable future. In a year and a half from now, we're going to have the opposite. Whereas now we have too much inventory, but in a year and a half from now, when a lot of this inventory is going to be absorbed, we're not going to have enough inventory to house the many people that are coming into the country. When we look at regulatory changes, I mentioned before that some of the people that will be coming into the country will be there will be a cap on some of the people that are coming in. So with plans to cut the number of temporary residents and international students already in place, 2023, last year, will likely mark the peak of the immigration-driven population boom in Canada. Now, economists have projected that the new restrictions would slash the rate of annual growth by half or more. I believe that's overstating it. However, impressive population gains helped buoy Canada's economy. amid elevated interest rates. But the surge strained infrastructure and services, which worsened housing shortages and sent rents soaring. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in now. So although there are regulatory changes in place to help with the housing crisis and to help um, funnel a lot of these people into housing, more needs to be done. Tim Hudak, the CEO of the Ontario Real Estate Association, possibly the largest association, or one of the largest associations in Canada, with over 100,000 realtors. Ontario is in a housing affordability crisis, not only in terms of what people can actually afford to buy, but also finding housing, suitable housing. And we need bold action to save the dream of home ownership for future generations. The government of Ontario's newly announced More Homes Built Faster Act 2022 is just what the doctor ordered when it comes to getting more homes for families built faster right across the province. The over 50 actions in the More Homes Built Faster Act will go a long way to reversing declining rates of home ownership in Ontario. But more can and should be done. Most of the homes built, thanks to the MHBFA, will take years to build. Families need help now. There aren't enough projects that are actually greenlit by the various municipalities, so that these houses or housing options that are sorely needed, it will take years for them to actually get built. And there simply isn't time for that. The people are coming in at a record rate, and the small attempts to curb the number of people that are coming in by limiting foreign students and temporary residents is simply not enough. Ontario should also give first-time homebuyers immediate relief by eliminating the punishing land transfer tax for these first-time buyers, or increasing the existing rebate. Now, this tax adds thousands of dollars to a young buyer's closing costs, upwards of 2%, and increasing the rebate would help hundreds of struggling families today. So we hope that Tim's voice will be heard, and some of these measures will be adopted. In conclusion, Dr. Sherry Cooper, who spoke at our most recent, or one of our most recent seminars, basically said that Ontario is headed for a soft landing. What that means is we're not heading into a recession. So the BoC will continue to ease pressure on interest rates, the overnight lending rates, which affects variable rates, mortgages, and HELOCs. The fixed rate, which is determined by the 5-year bench rate, is already heading downwards. So that is currently sitting at 2.75%. That doesn't mean that everyone will get that rate when renewing their mortgages, but it is trending downwards. And in most cases, fixed rates are actually lower than variable rates. That's why the recommendation is to get into a mortgage now and perhaps take a 1, 2, 3-year term for that mortgage, and don't wait for further rate cuts. The rate cuts are coming, but at the same time, pricing will go up. As more and more buyers get off the fence, bidding wars will return. This is obviously not going to happen in the short term, but it will happen. So as that takes place, that unfolds, we will see pricing, which for the last year has been quite soft. We haven't seen the appreciation that we typically see on a year-over-year basis, but that too will change. So any perceived savings that buyers are hoping to get with each successive rate cut is being eaten up literally by the increase in price. The longer they wait, the higher prices will be. And the rate cuts will not come down fast enough in order for them to take advantage of those savings. So I will have all of Dr. Sherry Cooper's contact information. I highly encourage you to follow her. She, along with our broker of record, Chris Slidham, are wizards when it comes to stats and analyzing the economy. We also rely on Sean Hildebrand, who is behind Urbanation. So this trifecta is perfect, is a perfect resource. And I am the conduit of their messages, and I hope you take it to heart. This allows you to make very, very intelligent and important decisions when it comes to either buying or selling. So you can reach out to me. All my contact information is in the notes, and you can reach out to me, obviously, through the various social channels. That's it for this episode of Brick by Brick. I hope you have obtained value from this. And I will update you on the current market stats, which are during the month of September. Those stats will be revealed the first week of October. Ciao, ciao.